Hello, hello, everybody. Here we are, about 25 and a half hours until MaM-a-Thon starts. Geez. It's like this last year too, but it's like I've like equal portions of excited and equal portions of stressed out. So, you know, it's looking like it's going to be a great event. It's been worked out a way for everybody to be able to donate to Stephen and Brennan, but the international crowd will have to take a slower route. But anybody that wants to and wants to, help out Stephen and Brennan for MaM-a-Thon will be able to. There is a way to do it. So if you go to the MaM-a-Thon website, Mr. Capaldi did a video today to explain it as well. So, so there's all that going on. So yeah, we're 25 and a half hours away, basically. A little under 25 and a half hours, right? And, I'm a little bit stressed out about tomorrow, folks. I am. I was really hoping to get the day off. I was really, really hoping. And my boss, God love him, he tried. He really, really tried to get me the day off. Our client insisted that it had to be tomorrow. So I have to go there tomorrow. So I'm hoping to get that knocked out quick, fixed, and working properly, and get out of that call and just making a beeline for home, for my studio, so that I can do my pre-recorded interview tomorrow with my up until this point my surprise guest. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know who it is. Are you guys interested? Do you want to know? Send a money order. There you go. It's a good idea. Yeah, well, you can't guess, Trav. Well, Linda, I've decided that along with the folks who were able to help me get in touch with Amanda and who were able to advise me how to approach Amanda, they think I should announce it as well. They think they've advised me to announce it as well. So I'm going to, because I feel it will create a little bit more of a draw, get more people interested in coming in to watch, because I believe people will want to see this person. So I am stressing the hell out, folks, because I need to get that service call done quickly as possible, so that I leave the maximum amount of time open tomorrow for when this person's ready to drop in and do a little interview with me. So I'm stressing out a little bit. I'm a little bit I got a little bit of pressure on, but that's okay, because pressure can I guess you might say forge or strengthen the blade or sharpen a blade, so a little bit of pressure can be healthy. So let's see who's all guessing. Anybody guessing? And it looks like, and I don't know how, I'm not sure how he guesses, but he guessed it. Ripper got it. So my surprise guest is going to be Amanda Knox. And many of you will know who that is. I said the name a few times. I certainly said it to you a few times, Julie. I haven't said it on a live video yet. Now, people who were inclined could have went and looked through my Twitter, and they might have seen the tweets where I got Amanda's attention, and that might have tipped people off. But other than that, I've told a handful of people, and so anyway. Oh, yeah, I said it. Yes, I said it a few seconds ago. Certainly, absolutely, I did. So anyway, it's going to be Amanda Knox, and it was a 2-week period of kind of talking with her through Twitter messages, and she was, I mean, she finally confirmed, like I said, on Tuesday, and you know, and I was just like, ooh, you know, because I really wanted to talk to her, because I feel like her case has so many, you know, similarities with Brendan, with the way the cops were acting, with just, there's so many facets of it that have a great deal of similarity to Brendan. That's why I was just so over the moon when she did finally agree. But she's a very busy person, folks. She's actually very active nowadays. She has her own podcast. It's called True Crime Stories. I've tweeted it on my Twitter if you guys want to go find it. So the magistrate who prosecuted Amanda is on charges for prosecutorial misconduct. I am not surprised by that, Travis. And you want to know why I'm not surprised by that? Because during the Amanda Knox documentary, that prosecutor actually straight up comes out and says it right out loud, that in his hometown, people would come up to him and ask him, you know, questions and want to shake his hand. And then he actually goes as far as to say, and he enjoyed it. He was enjoying the notoriety he was getting from prosecuting Amanda Knox and Rafael Sochito. They say it. I think that's how they say it. Let's see. What's Travis talking about? So I'm really not surprised that magistrate is up on charges possibly of prosecutorial misconduct, because when I heard him say that, I'm like, oh, dude, you are so compromised. You are so flipping compromised. It was just like, oh, man. I was just checking the chat there, folks, because I'm trying to. Yeah, I'm not understanding what this. So, anyways, so there's that. Obviously, you guys, you know, there's a lot of guests coming up. Paul's gonna have, you know, some interesting guests. He's got, and from what I understand, we're gonna see Fleetside over there on Paul's channel. I really like Fleetside, good guy, very reasonable. Very much like that in people, so I do dig that. So it'll be exciting to see that, and along with Paul's other guests. I mean, some of the, you know, I'm excited to see some of the really passionate supporters who are probably more knowledgeable about this case now than any of the prosecutors are, and seeing them, you know, getting into live chats and kicking the ball around, you know, of you know, Avery and Dassey's guilt and innocence, basically. So it'll be interesting to see all the various people that are going to be commenting this weekend. Obviously, Johnny, or Ripper here, Ripper Media, he's obviously going to be having Aaron Moriarty and Patricia Bushnell, which is very exciting. Those of you who may be wondering who Patricia Bushnell is, Patricia Bushnell was in the first documentary. She was Stephen's post-conviction counsel at the time, or, you know, she was helping Stephen and stuff. And she ended up she ended up coming on board with Zellner at first when Zellner took over the case. But eventually, when Zellner needed to get an attorney that was in the state of Wisconsin or whatever, when she ended up getting that guy Richard, what's his name, and everything, that's when Trisha Bushnell ended up going away from the case. So she's actually, she knows the case and all that sort of stuff. And like I say, she was in the first documentary. So I'm pretty excited about that one. I know Miss Sharon Sunshine is going to be having Dr. Sandra Lean on. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty excited about all of it. I mean, there's going to be a lot of good stuff going on this weekend. And a lot of people who really, really know the case. So that's, a big part of it. Shaz, just type in Amanda Knox on Netflix. Comes right up. It's an hour and a half. How familiar is Amanda with TH case, if at all? I don't know the answer to that question yet. Everyone who has anything to do in this case are fantastic, really. Let's see, T1, you should do a stream with R. Kelly. Bad pun intended. So yeah, anyway, Italy appealed. Can you believe that? And lost. Yeah, I often wonder, I mean, what would Italy have done once Amanda was back here? I mean, but then again, I mean, the case against Amanda was BS. I mean, it was bull. It was complete bull. I mean, it's obvious when you watch the way it goes. I mean, when you watch in the beginning, the cops don't know who did it. They have no idea. They can't find anything that points to. They can't find anybody that was creepy, that was hanging around Meredith Kersher. I mean, there was nothing. They had nothing to go on because it seemed like there was no avenue for them that looked obvious to them. Okay. And then eventually they decided, but they wanted to put a name to it because it was a tragedy, and they wanted to be able to make somebody pay for the crime because it was this poor girl, Meredith Kersher, who was from England, had been killed and everything, and they were desperate to put a conviction on it, right? And so what did they end up doing? They admitted in the documentary. At first, they didn't know what to do. They were looking for motive, but they couldn't find any motive. They couldn't find anything to explain why it happened, right? Then they move into talking about finding doing the DNA testing and finding out that Rudy Herman Getty, his prints are all over her room. His DNA is all over her room. His feces is unflushed, left in the toilet. And there's no DNA of Amanda. And there was one tiny little spot of Raphael's DNA on the clasp, one of the clasp pieces of Meredith's bra, which had been cut. So the clasp was lost when they found the bra. Eventually, they found it 46 days later under a rug. You understand how easily it could have gotten contaminated in 46 days? I mean, and plus, add to that, there was DNA of two other males on that bra clasp, or at least two other profiles. May have been the same person. It may have been Getty. It may have been her boyfriend at the time, and his DNA was still on it from the last time him and her were together, or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but there was unidentified DNA on the bra clasp. So I mean, you put all these. So the part of the documentary that was getting me is when they got to the knife, and they're saying that the knife had Amanda Knox's DNA on the handle, right? And it said it had Meredith Kersher's DNA on the blade, right? But that didn't wash. But when I first saw that, I went, whoa, if Meredith Kersher, if her DNA is on that blade that they found in Raphael's kitchen drawer, I don't see any way of explaining that away. right? Then you get later on into the documentary, and then you find out when the appeals court launches an investigation into the investigation that happened here, we find out that that knife, number one, did not come back as the DNA on the blade did not come back as Meredith Kirscher's. It came back inconclusive. The investigators just lied and said it was Meredith's. Now, it could be that they got a partial profile and that they matched it up against Meredith Kirscher, and that it matched what small amount of data they had from the inconclusive test. They may have thought, oh, well, each one of these things that it all matches up with Meredith. Well, you know how that could have happened, folks? It's like Sherry Culhane, okay? This knife that they were testing, they tested it at a lab desk with 50 other items that belonged to Meredith. At the same time, this knife was being tested with 50 other items that belonged to Meredith. These are all the reasons. These are all the reasons why the higher courts in Italy corrected this, because it was an absolute freaking farce, especially when you dug into the forensics on it. I mean, and it gets worse, because when they did their investigation, they were pointing out the fact that lab techs were in there, because there was all kinds of footage, camera footage and video footage of the lab techs. I mean, there was a lot of people going in and out of the house without protective suits. There was a lot, and even the people, the techs that were in protective suits and stuff, weren't changing their booties very often and weren't changing their gloves very often. So they were just moving contamination from one spot to the next, one spot to the next. It was described as complete chaos. You see. Yes, we're talking about Amanda. Amanda's not on at the start. No. I explained in my video last night the kind of progression of my first segment. So let me go through it again. First opening 5 minutes of my segment, the open of MaM-a-Thon. Tracy wants to come in for about 5 minutes and talk to y'all. After Tracy's done, I'm bringing in the new hosts, or most of them. I'm bringing them in. I'm going to be talking with them for about 20-25 minutes, introducing them to everybody. Then I'm going to clear the broadcast studio. Then I'm going to play my interview with Steve Moore, retired FBI agent Steve Moore. And then following Steve Moore, I'll be back. I'll come back in, talk a little bit, introduce Amanda Knox. And then I will play my pre-recorded segment of Amanda Knox. Then following that, I may have a third person. It's not looking likely just yet at this point in time, because they haven't gotten back to me, and here we are within the last 24 hours. But you never know. This person might get to me by Sunday, and this person might be on my Sunday segment. But there may be somebody after Amanda Knox and before Dr. Silkman. So, and then I'm going to close out with Dr. Silkman on my first segment. And then that will lead into Ripper's first segment from 12:30 Saturday morning, basically, or, basically 30 minutes after midnight, 12:30 to 3:30, I believe it is. So he'll be following me up with all the similarities of these corrupt investigations. Well, that's the other thing about it. In the dark SOP and the LA, kind of like the dark web and an official, unofficial formula for framing. Yeah, maybe. I mean, honestly, I've always said this. Wrongful convictions have the same earmarks or seams or threads running through them. Or themes running through them. After getting to look at enough of them, I've begun to see that there is a pattern. There is a pattern. So, and the Innocence Projects are coming up with the empirical data, folks, that can be pointed to and is, in many ways irrefutable. So $20,000. Oh, they only gave her $20,000. Many of us cannot fathom a justice process where the prosecutor, public official, gathers evidence and performs a full investigation, provides a full report to the judge, and then the judge reads it. It is hot in here. My AC is not really doing as well as I would like. Oh, Central Park 5. Yep, that's another one. That's another one where that it bears a bit of a similarity to Amanda Knox because folks, with the Amanda Knox case, they didn't know what to do, and so they tried to shoehorn Amanda and Raffaele into a conviction. But then, because they couldn't find Rudy Getty, he had fled the country. He had taken off and he was on the lam, right? And they were maybe despairing at any chance of getting him, right? So and so they were pushing forward with their prosecution against Amanda and Raffaele. And it's just, to me, it's like, so they push forward with that and they kind of get themselves cemented in, right? Push forward on the Amanda and Raphael, guilt. And then when they eventually do get Rudy Herman Getty, who matches the lion's share of the forensic evidence in this case, they don't think, oh, no, this is the guy who actually did it. This is why we couldn't figure out the motive, because it was completely random. Right? Right? Okay? They don't correct it. What they do, just like in the Central Park 5 case, they just start piling more on. They just keep piling on suspects. Oh, they all did it. Everybody, all of them, they're all guilty. They just pile on. It's just like, that's another similarity that this has. Yeah, and especially what Corey Wise had to go through. Absolutely. So Linda, make sure you're ready to hang out with us at the beginning of my segment tomorrow. And then, like I said, I have an air conditioner. It's right there. It's just not cooling it down quick enough in here. Anyway, actually, I'm starting to feel some cool drafts coming from back there. So maybe it's starting to reach here. So, that's what we're looking at. And Tracy's going to be talking to some exonerees herself. There's going to be a lot of content this weekend that's going to be worthwhile, a lot of interesting stuff. So hope everybody's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and start to wrap up here, folks, unless anybody has any questions or anything before I go, because I want to go ahead and save my time so that I don't run out during MaM-a-Thon. I only get a certain number of hours per month, so I want to make sure I don't push it. It's fixed. It's blowing. Anyways, never mind. All right, since everybody's tired of watching me sweat, if you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see you.